Hi, I'm Charlene and I'm an entomologist based at the University of Cape Town. I started working on tiny little non-insects, which are called springtails or colembula. They don't hear or taste or smell like us. They are like aliens. They are just amazing at all these things.
Hi, I'm Awusisiwe. I'm from the University of Cape Town. So my interest in insects, which are very tiny, came from when I was doing my second year, where I started getting the feel of looking at the insects under the microscope. So as much as when we see them outside, they are just too small and we don't really know what to do with them. That changes the minute you start looking them under the microscope, because you start seeing all these beautiful features and learning about them, knowing their ecosystem services. That's something that is so great about them, and yeah, that is what caught my attention.
Before we launch Mzanzi Insect of the Year, we're first going to tell you a bit about insects and hopefully answer lots of the questions that you are wondering about.
How does a dung beetle find its way home in the dark?
There's a specific species of dung beetle that rolls dung balls at night, and they need the moon to navigate. So researchers have found that when there's no moon at night, they actually get on their little dung ball, they do a little dance, and they navigate by means of the Milky Way.
So how does a butterfly work out whether a leaf is worth eating?
So butterflies have got little very sensitive receptors on the tips of their toes, and these are called chemoreceptors. So a butterfly female will fly to a plant and land on the leaf, where they then taste the leaf's status or the specific species, because their caterpillars need to feed on a specific plant to grow.
Why is it so hard to sweat a fly?
Well, flies have got very special eyes called compound eyes. These eyes consist of thousands of lenses. So a housefly can have up to 4,000 lenses in each eye. These lenses are called ommatidia, and they are special light receptors. So a fly doesn't really see like a human, it sees sort of a blurred vision. But because those lenses are directly connected to the brain, it's like they sense in slow motion. So you would swat a fly and you would never kill that fly, and the reason is because they see you coming from a mile away.
Is there an insect that lives in South Africa and absolutely nowhere else in the planet?
There is actually a whole order of insects that only occur in South Africa and Namibia called Mantophasmatodia. They're also known as the gladiators or hill walkers, and they were discovered in 2001.
If every insect in this country vanished tonight, what's the first thing we'd notice?
The first thing you'd notice is a very quiet world. There'll be no chirping of crickets, there'll be no buzzing of insects, so it will be a very different life. We'll also not have pollinators to pollinate our plants and provide food. We'll have no dung beetles or flies to clear carcasses or dead plant material, so it will be a very, very different world than what we're used to.
What are insects doing out there that the rest of us never notice?
Insects are important in our everyday lives without us even noticing them, and they provide all these services for free. Most of us know about pollinators, for example, like carpenter bees, such as this little one. Wasps and bees are important pollinators, but also flies, lacewings, and other insects are very important to pollinate plants. And it's calculated that 1 of 3 food items we eat are pollinated by insects.
If I photograph a spider for this competition, what happens to my entry?
So because this is the first ever Mzanzi Insect of the Year, we really want you to nominate insects. The difference between an insect and a spider or a scorpion is quite clear once you get to look for the right things. So for example, an insect always has 6 legs, 3 per side. It's got a head, a thorax and an abdomen. And they usually have antennae, which can be long or short. And in contrast, arachnids such as scorpions or spiders usually only have a head and a body. Scorpions have a tail, but they always have 8 legs. So that's the biggest difference which you could look for.
So somebody's got a phone and a garden and wants to enter this competition. Where do you tell them to point it, and what makes a winning photo?
So you could look for insects in your garden and take out your phone. Usually insects are very fast flying when it's warm, but they'll eventually settle down when they feed or rest. So try to take a photo of the top of the insect, or if they've got interesting patterns, you can always upload more than one picture. Look underneath leaves, look out and about what's flying around and follow it until it settles. Also remember to look in places like the soil. You can maybe find an interesting insect in the soil, or even in streams, lift up a rock. There might be some cool aquatic insects that you can photograph. This is the first ever Mzanzi Insect of the Year, and we are delighted to host it on our website. How it works, go to the website and you'll see the logo for Mzanzi Insect of the Year. Click on the link and this will take you to a form. Make sure the species occurs in South Africa, and also tell us why you think the species is important. We will then choose 10 finalists, which will then be voted for by the public. So South Africa will decide who is the Mzanzi Insect of the Year.
So my favorite insect will be the ants. So ants, the interesting thing about ants is that they are all females. So when you see ants foraging on the ground, it is all females getting food for the young ones.
So if I could keep one insect, it would be dung beetles. I think they are just so amazing. There's hundreds of species and they are like the cleanup crew. They've got such amazing behaviors, things they do. They've got amazing sensors in their antennae, so they can smell fresh dung from so far away. They've got interesting patterns they use to find mates. They roll balls, they bury dung, so they're just the coolest little things. I love dung beetles. The winner of Mzansi Insect of the Year will get a year-long membership at the Entomological Society of Southern Africa and also a great prize. So enter now.